Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mariah and I'm on a self-awareness journey. I was recently diagnosed with neuroendocrine cancer and I had 2 tumors removed as part of a Whipples operation on March 2nd, 2021. So today I want to go through, if you haven't listened to or watched part 1 of the sort of death side of these tumors and my old life, now we're into the rebirth, so make sure you go back and watch. So the month of April was all about rebirthing, and I'm celebrating 3 months post-operation, so I wanted to take you on this 3-part series. So rebirthing was April, and it was really challenging mentally. I got out of hospital, my parents left, and I had to sort of navigate what my new life looked like. So let me take you through what the month of April was like for me.
Journal entry from April 3, 2021. If I had to describe what I feel or how I'm going right now, I feel like I'm treading water. I'm in the middle of the ocean where it is terrifying. Although I'm not alone, I'm the weakest of the group. Every now and then, I get a glimpse of hope. I feel great, but then the storm comes and I feel like I will go then and there. Like those stories of people lost at sea, I'm confident I'll be found, but some days the light at the end of the tunnel is covered. I feel like the only way to describe this is by using the word hard. There are days of utter disbelief that this is my reality, but whatever I'm feeling, it needs to be a consistent reminder that it will pass. April was a really challenging time for me mentally. Even though I had left the hospital, I wasn't discharged from the hospital and I had to go in every day to get my drainage tube reassessed and flushed. I was flushing my own drainage tube 3 times a day because I still had fluid that needed to come out. So I was still spending a lot of time in the hospital. My parents got an Airbnb in Coogee where I stayed with them and we commuted to the hospital every single day. I did still look quite sick. I had lost quite a bit of weight during this time. And warning, as I'm about to show you, my drainage tube did dehiss. So what happened was there was a hole in my scar which was draining fluid. And I spent a lot of time in hospital with this, so let me show you.
So we finally got home, and after reviewing the drainage site, it was in fact my surgical scar that had split. So there is a hole in my stomach, but it's okay. It has been bandaged and I have to redress it every time it leaks. This is living.
If you'd like to know what single-handedly got me through feeling nauseous, feeling anxious, feeling hungry but not hungry, and just feeling sad, you're looking at it. And I'm not joking. My beautiful friends Shelby and Zoe came to visit me over Easter, and it was really nice to be able to get out of the house, even though after this I spewed and I was exhausted most of the time. It was really good to be able to go on some adventures. Before I talk, can we just take a minute to appreciate that view?
Anyway, haven't talked in a while. Haven't been very well the last few days, and I enjoyed a bit of Easter break. But I want to discuss something and I want opinions. So at the moment, I can't eat full meals. I'm having like 6 meals a day, small meals. And like by small, I mean I had half an English muffin for breakfast. Like not even the 2 sides, like 1/2. And I had like for lunch, I'd had one little sausage roll, some popcorn, and like a frappe at a cafe because I couldn't order anything to eat. Because no one does half serves, no one accommodates for those who have, I don't know, maybe feel nauseous and maybe have had abdominal surgery. Now, I haven't worked in like a cafe, I don't cook, I'm not a chef, but the way I see it is I'm going to waste food if I don't eat it all. I don't care about if I spend $30 and eat half of my meal for the money factor. I care because I'm wasting food. I understand it probably takes more time to do half serves. I don't know. If someone works in a restaurant and would like to tell me why this is a bad thing, please let me know. But I'm frustrated because I really can't eat out. I had a fruit smoothie essentially for lunch and the place I went to had the biggest meals ever. They're huge, which is great value. But I'm not going to eat that all. I cannot stomach that. I will throw up everywhere if I even attempt to eat half of that. I'm calling for half serves in restaurants, in cafes, in places where we eat. Anyway, I totally understand to those who want a full meal. I get it. But just wanted to state my thoughts on this. Wanted to know what you think. Really want to rally this because I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat out. And like the entrees, some places like, oh, you can get a side of chips. I don't have a gallbladder. I have half a pancreas, half of my stomach's being cut, and part of my bowel. I don't want chips. I don't want to have a side of chips. I don't want a garlic bread. I can't handle garlic. I can't handle onion. I don't want to be this difficult person that can't eat anything because I love food. I love it so much. I just really want some middle ground here so that I can go out and, because otherwise I'm just wasting food and I just don't feel right about that. They're my thoughts. I don't know what you think.
I did get some normality as I went out for dinner for the first time and put makeup on, which was amazing. Well, this is exciting. I had enough energy. The energy is flowing now. I'm back. And I've recorded a podcast about the lessons in hospital that I think can be transferred to business. So that is a 27-minute potty coming out on Tuesday. It's good to be back. And I went to the AFL. I hadn't been to the AFL since before COVID, so it was really good. I go for Essendon, and what happened was my team lost by 2 points, and my heart rate really did spike. But it was good to try and experiment with leaving and doing normal activities. I also had to get a CT scan during this time, and this is how it went.
I don't know how long it's going to take me to get used to the fact that things can turn dramatically and I can spend the whole day vomiting and feeling awful. I actually joined like a Facebook page for those who had had a Whipples procedure before. It's such an amazing support group and so many questions answered, but also a little bit like daunting to think that my reality probably looks like not having good days. But also I think that's comforting in knowing it's okay and that I can just get through it, have a bit of a... Obviously, I'm never going to compare how someone else has handled it compared to myself, because everyone is different, but it is really good to know that I'm not alone and that people are experiencing similar things, especially when you do, because there's always so many possibilities of why you vomit after this operation. Like maybe your stomach is rejecting food, maybe, you know, it could be a number of things.
and you just don't know. But knowing that some people have had this, you know, every now and then, even a few years after their operation, it is good to know. But it is a bit frustrating when, like, I went to the footy last night, I went out for dinner the other night, but my life is like going back to normality. I've got so much more energy. I'm working obviously for my clients, and then starting getting back into my own content creation. But I think it really just does come down to the food. I've got my hydrolyte, and I need to just keep eating, because obviously I haven't really spoken about the post-op, I guess, changes. I have lost a lot of weight. I've lost like 10 kilos, which is crazy. So I need to keep eating because I can't keep losing weight. And I've been eating like 6 smaller meals a day as opposed to, you know, like bigger meals. But it is hard when there's days where you want to eat and you want to fuel your body and your body doesn't want it. So I'm just learning what my body likes, what it doesn't anymore. And I know eventually it'll be fine. So
I just smell something good. One of my farts I want. 7 silent bears padding softly through the trees. One sniffs some honey and goes looking for bees.
then it was time to go back to my reality as my parents headed back home. It was amazing to have them. I was also excited for a little bit of normality, but it was really challenging seeing them leave, and I know it was really hard for them.
Hello, do you notice anything different? I'm wearing makeup and I'm in my room, which is extremely exciting. I didn't jump on yesterday because I was just, a lot happened yesterday, including some extremely good news that I just wanted to share. So I had my appointment with the surgeon, and he actually took my drainage tube out. So I do not have my Gucci handbag anymore, which is extremely, extremely exciting. And then I went to the hospital and the home. So I was going to the hospital every single day to get my wound redressed. I was flushing my drain myself 3 times a day. And also the hospital was doing it once a day and then tracking what was coming out of my body, which sounds disgusting, but I just needed to share that with you. But the best thing about that was they officially have discharged me from the hospital, and I don't have to go back there daily. I just have to go see my GP this week to assess the wound, because I was part dolphin for a few weeks now as my scar dehisced, which I did mention. So my blowhole is closing up. So I just have one bandage over everything, and I am on track. I will book in to see an oncologist just for routine scans, because as you know, I do not have cancer. And I'm just feeling a lot better. I'm eating a little bit more, which is great. And I'm about to go for a half an hour walk so I can get some exercise in, because I need to do some more exercises, but there's no heavy lifting for 3 months, so no gym. And I see my surgeon in 6 weeks. So that was just amazing news for me.
Journal entry, April 15. At the moment, as I feel a bit deflated with the business, I'm reminded that there's always enough clients, enough people to join the team that will be useful. There is always enough. I trust the abundance that will come, as I already receive amazing abundance already. It's just a reminder, if you're ever in hard times, that more will come, and you just have to trust and do the work and ask for help.
Did successfully go a week and 1 day
without having what we call a Whipple attack. That's what the industry calls it, a Whipple attack. I did really well today. It just this afternoon, no good, and no amount of Big Bang Theory and lemonade icy balls could help me. But the win out of this is it lasted nowhere near as long as usual. It only started at about, I'm going to say like 2:33. I think it's over. So, to summarize, welcome to my life. The old Simple Plan throwback for you. During April, I saw my oncologist for the first time. I'd already seen my surgeon when he took my drainage tube out, which was amazing. And then I went and saw my oncologist to talk about what was next, what was going on. That's when he explained the neuroendocrine cancer. But it was really good to get more answers and more of a future plan for me. Back in 2017, Mariah short hair is back. Not what I come on to chat about. I wanted to give an update on my oncology appointment yesterday. So he was incredible. He did little drawings and literally wrote what he was saying down, because I don't know about you, but every time I go to the doctors, I leave and my parents or friends and family will be like, so tell me. And I'm like, I've sort of forgotten half of it and I've forgotten half of the names and all the things. Anyway, so he explained to me that the tumor started in my bowel, but I don't have bowel cancer. I have neuroendocrine cancer. So this is, neuro is the nervous system. So essentially the operation was to cut out said tumors. So that's why I had the major operation. But now it's just ensuring that the tumors don't come. So we're ensuring that we cure the cancer and the tumors don't spread. So 2 big goals. And he was saying to me that it's very, very likely that we will cure this. Like, I think he said super confident were his words. I don't need chemo, as I mentioned, and I just monitor it with scans and blood tests and all of that. So I have a scan on the 10th of May, and then we assess from then how often I get these scans. Could be every 6 months, could be, yeah, it just depends from then on. So I feel really good. Obviously when we mention the word cancer, it's super scary, but when you have a good team of support, it's super helpful, which I'm reading at the moment in a book. And yeah, I just went for my first ocean dip post-op. Terrifying. Freezing. Actually, it wasn't that cold, even though it's only like 15 degrees. The water was quite warm, but just like the wave hitting my stomach. Okay, I'm done. We've done it. Probably good healing for the old scar. But it's really beautiful here this morning, so I had to get in. It's been a while. It's been a very long time, but it's Sandwich Friday. Let's see how the stomach handles a delicious sandwich for lunch. The sandwich went okay. I'm going to deem it successful. I'm going to post a video of it. It was very nice. It was from Brasserie, our favourite place in Botany. Shout out. But I've had enough. We got poached chicken this time. Look after the health. Towards the end of April, I also went on my first little adventure on my own. I packed snacks. I made sure I had my phone on me. I didn't walk too far. I really wanted to walk to the lighthouse, but I just couldn't. So I just walked as far as I could on my little adventure. It was quite challenging because I was really hard on myself because I did want to go further, but I honoured and I remembered what I'd been through, but it was just really nice to go on a bit of a solo adventure. During April, I did see some beautiful sunrises from the beach. I also saw some sunsets from my bedroom window and sunrises from my bedroom window, and it was a really good time to connect with the sunrise, and I think it was a really beautiful part of my healing journey, that's for sure. My mental health really suffered during the time of April, and I felt as though I needed to do more than I was doing, but I was pretty helpless. As you saw, my parents left. I also lost clients in my business, which was really hard. And it was a stage of rebirthing and adapting to a new life. It was uncomfortable, and I had to ask myself a lot of questions. I journaled a lot. I've not missed a day since the start of April, which is amazing. And I really turned to mindfulness more than ever. I also looked for balance, and I called on balance in this time. Obviously, my parents helped me a lot, and this was me again, flushing my drainage tube. But it was tough, and I've got a video that I want to share next of something I filmed right in the middle of all this. I was very vulnerable, and I had a lot of revelations. But I really put in a plan of what was going to happen next. So it was more sleep, it was more balance, and it was, as I said, really turning to those mindfulness practices to help me get through this really challenging time and beyond.
I was thinking this morning, I haven't done any video vlogs when I was in hospital because I was a fucking mess. It was so hard. I don't want to do that ever again. But I was thinking this morning of the term life's too short, and I think we hear that a lot. We hear life's too short a lot. We say it a lot. But in my opinion, the term life's too short really isn't understood fully by one individual until something has been taken away from you. Whether it's a loved one, your own health. I'm not really sure about the whole breakup thing because I don't think I really got that with mine. Maybe after, but the whole meaning of life is too short for me now after this journey is so different to when I've lost loved ones. And I think the whole purpose of death feels different as well. I don't fear it anymore. I don't fear dying. I fear being in excruciating pain, where you're helpless and no one can help you either. And there was just so many times in that hospital bed where no painkiller could help me. No matter how many times you took them, or, I had a button I could administer to myself every 5 minutes. And not even that would help me. And that's the hard part because being dead isn't the painful part, it's the process of feeling like you're gonna die. And when not even, you have people around you, and the empathy is honestly one of the things that got me through. But people are helpless when you're in that much pain. And even if it's mental pain, it doesn't matter. Pain is pain. So for me, coming out of this, it's not dying that I'm afraid of, or it's the pain that you go through. And your body just gets to that point where it's like, I can't fight anymore. And I never once thought in the hospital that I was going to die. Of course, everything went really well. But there were times where I would wake up and not want to have to do the day.
and put my body through all of that, because it's a lot. Like, it's so much. And when your body is just so exhausted and you're just trying to mentally get through it, you really can't. And they're the days that you fear, because it's just not that the days go long, or not that you feel like it's never going to end. You don't want to do it in that moment. And I've said to people, like, I do understand how people go from having really good prognosis to dying, because your mindset can get you as far as you possibly can, but some days it can't. So I think the concept life's too short is always relevant, no matter whether you've been through anything. But I think the reality of life's too short is really hard to concept when you haven't had that moment where you think maybe that's it for you, or for someone else that you love, and it puts things into perspective. But I think we can all try and, remind ourselves of this every time we go through something, every time we have a bit of fear, there's something that we want to achieve, but we can't get there because our mindset's holding us back, there's a limiting belief. Trying to go in it head first with that concept of life is too short, because it doesn't matter if you've been through something or not, it's still the same concept. So I think it's still hard for people that have been through a lot anyway, because there's always those blockers that you need to overcome. So that's why I like doing work and writing things down and having those really honest conversations with yourself helps you push further towards that life's too short, jump in head first concept. But that's my opinion. That's my thoughts.
Okay, and as I love to share lessons, I just wanted to share some of the key lessons that I learned in April. The first one is don't expect too much. It's just, that's all it is when you're going through a process like this, when you're healing, whatever that looks like, whether it's mental or physical healing. Don't expect too much and just learn to surrender. I've talked about that a lot. Self-compassion is key, and being self-compassionate towards yourself. Like, would you treat your best friend like that? I think that's a really good question to ask. So definitely be self-compassionate. I'm still learning this process. Stress isn't worth it is number 3. I guess that's pretty key. And when I went through the loss of clients and all of that, I remember turning to myself. I opened the fridge on that morning after I'd found out that one of my biggest clients was no longer going to work with me anymore. Nothing bad, it just progressed. It's business, right? And I just went, get a grip, right? Like, you're in this situation because of stress. Don't let it get to you. Don't let it stress you out. And I shut that fridge and I made my breakfast, and you'll see what happened in May for me and my business. Exponential growth. Consistency plus passion equals exponential growth. This was a massive lesson for me. If I just kept going, was consistent with my business, had passion, I would get exponential growth. And even with things like this YouTube video or channel, like TikTok, I love it. So I don't expect, millions of followers and subscribers. I love talking about this and sharing my journey. So exponential growth, it happens over time, right? Balance is a must, and not everything revolves around business. I learned that in April and March, I guess, as well, that my life was more than just business and I needed to have balance. The sunrise is beautiful. I learned that in April. I saw a lot of sunrises and I loved it. And I think I saw it from my hospital window. I saw it from the Airbnb window when I went down to the beach with Leanne for Anzac Day. The sunrise is just so magical. And the last one is family is so important, and so is connection. And I think it's in those times you really realize that. And you'll see in the video and tribute I did to my mum and dad, but I think for me, it's just like I went through this process with my parents that I'll never experience again. Well, but it's really hard to sort of explain, I guess, that journey. I can show it to you and everything, but as I said, like, my parents saw me go through my absolute worst, and that's like, the journey we went together is really special as well. It wasn't all traumatic. I think there's a lot of journeys you'll go on in your life with people, and actually like bonding in that connection rather than, you know, dwelling on how hard it was or how bad it was, like actually appreciating that you guys went through that together. So they're my lessons. Join me next week. We're going to be talking about being reborn, even though there's still a lot of rebirthing. But April was mentally the toughest, I think, because I was focusing physical healing and then I had to do the mental healing. So, but you know, you'll see what happened in May, which is pretty special.